This is What's Your Weird Story Breaking News.
Hello, Weirdsville. This is Bobby, your resident Reddit weirdo, here with Barry Johnson and Adam Beebe, your hosts.
Thank you for that introduction, Bobby.
Very welcome.
We're here because this is our bonus breaking news kind of episode. And Bobby joined us for the conversation that we had, and this is all about the monolith.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Or monoliths.
Monoliths. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
One of the weirder stories of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just the
Hasn't it been great?
Yeah,
though?
yeah.
Like for all of the bad stuff, it's been equally awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. It gives you a little bit of something different than the the fucking bullshit we've been having to put up with,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really captured the imagination of the world, really, with everything that's been popping up and popping off because of this one monolith and everywhere I went afterwards. So, yeah, we felt that, to be honest, we recorded a very short bit about it a few weeks ago. And it was very fresh then. We were recording for our end of the year news roundup. We recorded like that day, Barry. I don't know if you remember this, but it was like, oh, this monolith popped up a couple of days ago, and then that very day was the same day that it disappeared.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And then the Romanian one popped up the same day later on. So. But yeah, so the story just kept developing and developing and developing, and it keeps developing. And so we sat down and we had a rather lengthy conversation that we pared down for you to in one digestible pill form for your ears, ear pill. That's what a podcast is.
Ear pill.
Yes. So
it's cool that we have Bobby too, because she does live out there, and
that's true.
It's just one of those things where we had to get her involved in this, and of course she had a lot of interest in it too. So it was cool how it worked out, and we had a great conversation. I think it comes across.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. And hey, Utah Monolith, what's your weird story? So this is kind of very recent news, very breaking news. As we're recording this on December 6th, 2020, and it is myself, as usual, Adam Beebe and Barry Johnston, and we're joined by our good friend and official resident Reddit weirdo, Bobby.
Every time.
And when you get a title, we're going to repeat it.
100%.
I'm getting that tattooed on me.
There you go. So we're all talking about the monolith, or actually the monoliths.
Yeah.
At this point, so.
Well, Bobby lives out there too, so.
That's true. That is true. Mm-hmm. So, in case you've missed it, this has been popping up for the past couple of weeks now, but it starts off with November 18th in Utah, the first monolith was discovered. It was discovered by some Utah State Department of Wildlife employees that were counting bighorn sheep out in the desert area there, and some mountains and stuff, and they were flying by helicopter over the area counting sheep, and not falling asleep, and they saw something on the ground, and they're like, well, what is that? So they go and investigate, and they find the monolith, the triangular shaped, I think it's like 10 foot tall, in a kind of hidden area. And they, took pictures of it and then put it, tweeted about it. And then all of a sudden it is setting the internet ablaze.
Yes. You sent me that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd seen it. Somebody else sent me it like maybe an hour or two before you sent it to me. And I was looking at that thing and I'm like, what the hell is that? I'm assuming that those guys, when they were flying around the helicopter, they might have thought it was a distress signal or something. If you see something flash, I mean, that thing would have been, the sun would have been beaming off that thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, outside.
But what's weird about that is that, like, so I go back, there's an article that they put out that say at some point, somebody put this out that they've gone back as far as 2015 on Google Earth and can find it, which means it had been sitting out there for maybe 5 years.
Yeah. They think that it was, according, looking at Google Earth, they think that it appeared sometime between August of 2015 and October 2016.
Right.
But they don't know who put it out there or how it was out there. So,
and it's not like it's far out there. I was reading, and Bobby probably knows more about this than I do, but if you've ever been out to Moab, it's vast. It's a big, big, big chunk of land. And where they put this thing, apparently you've got to walk, I believe, or drive very slowly out there. And it's like
there's a road. Like there is a road that goes out there.
Okay.
It's a couple miles off the road.
Okay.
So it's not, like, I guess, as remote as the outlets were saying. I think they were saying that to scare people so they wouldn't go, because they were saying, like, you'd run out of gas and then you'd, like, starve. And I'm like, Jesus.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we're going to the desert for quite some time now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were being pretty dramatic about it. But yeah, it's not that remote. But I mean, there isn't really much around it. So.
Okay, cool. Well, it's hard to understand because the only picture you're seeing is of the close proximity to where this thing is. You have no idea what is surrounding the area. So that's good that you point that out. That helps give some context to what it is or where you're at.
And a lot of people actually went out there, like not just the group that like took it down, but one of the guys who was out there. So the guy that photographed it being taken down wasn't even a part of that group.
That's what I heard.
There were a bunch of people out there looking for it.
Gotcha.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
So okay. So November 24th is the Bureau of Land Management, Utah. They tweeted, because that's how you do everything now. Their official statement. Because I mean, obviously this went viral and everybody was talking about, aliens and all of that stuff. And,
it is a cool coincidence that the new spacesuits look just like the ones from 2001 Space Odyssey.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And of course, if you've seen, 2001, that there's the part with the monolith in 2001. And so some speculate that was, potentially an inspiration for this. If you haven't seen 2001, it's a really great movie. You should check it out. I highly recommend it. It's is that Kubrick? It's different.
Is that Kubrick?
It's Kubrick.
Yeah,
it's Kubrick. So it's beautifully shot.
Yeah, dude.
Beautifully put together. And all of that stuff. So yeah, it's chill. If you like to adjust your mind set, your state of consciousness, alter that a little bit. Good for that, I suppose.
Right.
Wink. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a really good movie all around. Anyway, on the November 24th, the BLM, which is the Bureau of Land Management, which is also, the BLM National is their Twitter at name, or actually that's not them. That's the national one, which is funny because it's BLM and Black Lives Matter this year. It's all 2020, baby.
Right.
So anyway, the official statement is, quote, although we can't comment on active investigations, we would like to remind public land visitors that using, occupying, or developing the public lands or their resources without required authorization is illegal, no matter what planet you are from. That's their official statement.
That's cool, man. That is great. That is great. I mean, I think for people that don't know, the Bureau of Land Management, it's basically it's a federal run thing where you can go out and you can camp and, basically in the middle of New Mexico if you want to, which we don't really have much of in Oklahoma, oddly enough. All of ours are state-run parks and they're highly regulated. So yeah, the BLM. So I came out to Utah in October, and on the way out, we stayed in New Mexico on a piece of BLM land, and I was shocked because I'm like, this is so weird. You can just like drive off in the middle of nowhere, and they've got these little camp sites that are very basic. Like some of them have like picnic tables and stuff, but you can go camp and you can backpack and it's no big deal. But it's really cool. And it's something that we don't have in this part of the world really so much. So in where I'm at, but, so they're kind of, along with that, those guys are in charge of making sure that, things don't get polluted and, the land is kept, as pristine as possible. So, but for them to have a sense of humor is great. I mean, that's what you'd wish for,
Yeah, there's a lot of that BLM land, like you're talking about, that west of the Rockies.
Yeah,
because there's more
open space.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, for sure. But my mind, I'd be lying if I didn't say that my mind didn't go to aliens. I want it to be,
So much like Arrival. Once the Romania one popped up, that's all I could think about.
Yeah.
So this popped up on the November 27th, and it was, it was a buzz. It was all over the internet and the news, and everybody was talking about it. And then, actually, I'll take that back. It popped up on November 18th. The 27th of November, it disappeared. It was discovered to have disappeared. So, and that, of course, that was a huge mystery. And so I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
And on that same day that it disappeared, the one popped up in Romania, in that Bacta Domini, which was, I guess that's how it's said. It's near an old fort area, old fortress area.
Okay.
And near the town of Piatra Neamt. And of course, I apologize to any Romanian speakers out there, or how these are pronounced. I'm trying.
Compliment you. That was great.
Well, thank you.
Neamt.
So,
I don't know what you said, but it sounded very Romanian.
So it was basically the same kind of structure. It was a triangular structure. It was about the same height. And this one, differently from the first one had very smooth surfaces, kind of reflective, not mirror-like, but definitely metallic reflective.
Yeah.
And this one had kind of a circular motif, like somebody had kind of,
like grinder or something.
That's exactly what it looks like. Like somebody went over it with a grinder to kind of give it, some kind of a texture kind of look. And so that popped up, and of course everybody's like, oh, aliens, there's this other place it popped up, and it's happened on the same day that the in Romania as the one in Utah disappeared. So that adds to the mystery. That adds to that's really cool that it all popped at the same time.
Has anybody taken responsibility for that one?
At this point in time, I don't know.
Okay. I was just curious.
Art group did. They took for both of them, I think, or maybe three of them.
Who is this now? Who did?
Hold on, I think I actually wrote it down because I know I wouldn't remember their names.
That comes later, but there's an art collective out of New Mexico called Most Famous Artist.
Okay.
Yep, that's it.
And they are they're kind of claiming it. They're kind of like they're saying, they're not exactly saying yes we did it, but they're kind of like winking at you,
okay.
And I can't imagine that if this first one was there since 2015, it's hard to see, like, if anything was planned, it was planned on the fly. Like, once that one was found, then all of a sudden they would have had to have gotten together to plan it.
Yeah. That's what's weird, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, was that the plan all along? Is that this thing gets found, and as soon as it gets found, we pop another one up?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
As soon as it disappears, even.
Yeah.
Which is even more mysterious. As soon as the first one disappears.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's an interesting. I never really thought about it from that angle, so that's interesting.
Like, if you had done that and you were thinking, well, when they find this, we'll do this, and they have this whole plan they're super excited for, I feel like after like 2 or 3 years, they would be less excited and they would think we should tip somebody off.
To get
them.
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. 5 years is a long time.
It is.
Especially
it is for. Yeah.
No patience.
And if you get a lot of people in on something, 5 years is a long time to, like, okay,
keep a secret.
Right, to keep a secret, one, and also just have this other monolith readily available.
Yeah.
And I mean, now there were a few days in between, there's 10 days, but still, even that, it's like, getting that organized and saying, okay, we're going to take it down on this day, so have yours pop up on this day.
Yeah.
It just seems a bit, I don't know.
You're right. It had to be highly orchestrated. And you'd have to be willing, you'd have to be ready to do it at the drop of a hat. Like you were saying, is that, like, you'd have to be able to move on that real quick and to coordinate that. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I'm saying that would be a whole other thing. Kind of like Banksy.
Yeah, and just hours later.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
At first, I was thinking, Banksy was an early contender for me to think this is something that he might do.
Yeah.
But it's not exactly kind of in Banksy's, the structure and it being like that and how it all organized. But it definitely seems like kind of in that, the idea or the ballpark or the neighborhood of where Banksy is. But of course, Banksy operates mainly in the UK, and he's hit other major cities.
Right.
I don't know of Banksy doing anything out in like a rural and very far removed area. It doesn't mean that he couldn't have done this, but
right.
I don't know. And of course, nobody knows exactly who Banksy is.
Right.
There are people who they speculate who he is. There's been a documentary.
Yeah.
Leave Through the Gift Shop or something like that. But, but Banksy is this really well-known contemporary artist who does a lot of stuff in public art with like
putting like sculptures though.
I don't know.
He does all kinds of weird shit. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he does do some sculpture stuff, but he's mainly known for kind of like paintings or stencil paintings or stuff like that.
Tags and stuff.
Tagging, kind of like graffiti, kind of like public art like that. And they're really great stuff. They're really powerful stuff. Some of it's humorous. A lot of it's very political kind of stuff. But they're really great. And it's really cool because, like, he does this in public. And, he's known for this, but he's also a mystery.
Right. Somehow he does that. Yeah. Somehow he does it in a way where no one sees him do it. And then it's there. And Which is a different mindset, because this is the long game you're playing.
Yeah.
If you know, his is like very high risk and massive reward, whereas this was, you know, I don't know. I guess there'd be very low risk of, especially where it was put. So, I mean, I can't imagine there being that many people out there, you know, to put this thing.
Pretty illegal, right?
Do what?
It's still pretty illegal, right?
Yeah. Technically, yes.
Yeah.
At least the first one, because it's federal.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So, okay, so then when it disappeared and everybody, that was a mystery, but then it came out that it was first reported that, you know, or that there was some video of it being dismantled by these dudes, these people. So this guy, Ross Bernards, who is he's a nature photographer and self-described kind of like explorer and all this stuff, you know, hiker and all that stuff, and nature enthusiast. He went out and was taking a bunch of photographs of it, and left and came back and discovered a group of like four guys out there taking it down. And it's another kind of like hiker explorer type person. I can't remember his name, but
didn't they have black suits on, or black?
Yeah, they did.
They might have, but but
the words that this Ross Bernard guy said, like he did an interview and he was talking about like what they said to him, and it was just weird. Like it sounded like things that I don't know, it kind of sounded made up. Like,
right.
Well, the guy,
so too on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Like, leave nothing behind, or
yeah. So it came out that the Bernard's his stuff that he did, and he reported it, and then the person who is claiming credit for it is a base jumper and extreme sports YouTuber, Andy Lewis is his name. And he and some buddies came out, and I guess they took credit for taking it down, and they were like, they were talking about the leave no trace, you know, kind of like if you go into it's based on that, the supposed, you know, idiom of, you know, you go into an area and leave no trace behind, or leave only your footprints or something like that, or even less.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I saw an interview where Bernard's was saying that leave art in places where art should be, and let Mother Nature have her space. You know. So personally, I don't like this, because these guys took it upon themselves to illegally, I mean, yeah, it may have been illegally constructed, but they also illegally removed it. And so that's, I mean, still destruction of somebody else's property, you know. And they're also acting as, you know, they think that they're acting in the best interest of nature and the area, because people are going to want to come out there and see it, you know, and people have figured out where it was, because like they put the GPS coordinates on like Reddit and everywhere, so it's everywhere. But you know, they decided that they're going to, you know, be the arbitrators of this, and it was offensive to their sensibilities, so they went in and removed it.
You're right, though, dude. Like, they should have let the BLM take care of this.
Yes.
Let it go through the proper authorities. That way it can be cataloged. It could be properly investigated if it needs to be. Exactly. You know?
Well, and it was being investigated, and they came in and they interrupted a federal agency's investigation. So those men should get some kind of... They should get in some kind of trouble for that.
Yeah, that's what didn't make sense to me, is that they felt like they had Well, and the fact that they were able to do it doesn't make sense to me either, because it was being investigated and obviously watched.
Well, it was at night. I mean, they did it in the cover of darkness. They knew what they were doing, and there's some video that's out there. But I still think they should get prosecuted somehow and for doing that, because
now
So
if anything else, because I want to know where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so then that same day as when the one in Romania appeared, and we saw that, and then same kind of mystery. Nobody knows where it came from. It just popped up, and on the 27th, and then bam, December 1st, the monolith in Romania disappears,
and no one knows how. For that one too, right? Or for that one, I guess solely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just boom, it's gone. All right. So then, December 2nd, in Atascadero, I think I'm saying that right. Atascadero, California, third monolith appears.
Wow.
And it appeared on Pine Mountain in California.
Is that deserty too, or?
No, it's kind of like it's a mountain. It's kind of like the mountains. It's
like the
California mountains. It's
northern.
Lots of Christmas trees.
Yeah. So Northern California, probably.
Yeah, probably. I don't know exactly.
Cool.
But
now, what does it look like? Does it look
same? It looks more like the first
one.
But again, it differs a little bit more.
Okay.
And it is. Yeah, this is some slight variations on it. So that, of course, sparked a lot of interest, and everybody was really into it. And the local people would come up and see it and all that stuff. And they were like, "Wow, this is really cool." So it's it's a fun thing.
Yeah.
But as soon as that pops up on the internet and starts making the buzz. It's reported that was apparently on the 3rd. So immediately, a group of young men. This is from a December 4th article. A group of young men claiming to be Christians posted a video of themselves tearing down the monolith and replacing it with a cross. And while they were doing this, they were, they were all hopped up on energy drinks. And they were real kind of bro dudes.
Red Bull gives you angel wings.
Right, exactly. So they're all chanting, you see in the video, I watched a bit of the video as they're pushing the monument over. And it was fast and good. It was fast and rebarb and stuff. They're chanting Christ is King in a very unusual way. But at one point, guy who's I guess I don't know if the lead or he's the one in front of the camera, and he says something to the effect of, "We don't want any aliens here, if Mexicans or from other planets."
Oh
God,
my Lord.
No!
Oh
yeah,
my Lord.
Yeah. So
is there video of this? I want to know what you mean by unusual way. Because I can't think of a usual way that people would chant.
Well,
yeah, no kidding. That's exactly what I was going to say, Bobby. How do you not chant that in a weird way?
It's strange. It's strange.
Is there video though?
Yeah. That's how I saw it. There's video.
Oh, yes.
That's fun.
Just look for that.
Video California monolith. So, which it could have been, that could have been the original, could have been another pop-up. Because, they're popping up everywhere, it seems.
Oh, yeah. Now it's a game.
Right.
Yeah. So we don't know. Gosh, everything is still all fresh and new. We don't know if they're all connected or if they're not.
Right.
But I am very against the tearing down of these monoliths, especially by people who just take the authority on their own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very Christ-like to just destroy other people's property. If you're trying to, let's see. Look, there's one pops up at the Texas College campus. But I think that one was like planned, and they
like the University of Texas
in Austin. In Austin at the Austin Community College. But I think that was made by the welding department there. They did that one on purpose, and were very public about it. But really cool that they've done that, because I mean, it shows you just this is what's it's spreading this idea. It's fun. It's mystery.
It's inspirational in a way, in an odd way. When this has been, and this is what we were talking about the other day when we were texting. I think it was with you guys. It was with you and Hub, and it was like, if it can provide any amount of escape from this shit of a year. Right. Then it's fun, but I do want to know where it came from, even if it's an art collective, it is a really interesting concept and an idea that, number one, you could pull something like this off at this scale, even if at the first 2 or 3, I mean, that's impressive to be able to do that. And so,
with the again, the quote that I read from Most Famous Artist was they said something like, we're known for this kind of motif, and we're not, for legal reasons, basically saying for legal reasons we can't claim it. Of
course
but you'll see more from us in the future, something like that.
I want to believe it, but I can't believe it. That's also an art collective, right? The time frame doesn't, I just can't.
Right,
I want to though.
Part of what I know, I've heard of them before, is Art Collective, and part of what I know about their kind of thing is there is this kind of like trickster-esque kind of mentality or spirit to them, where they kind of would do that. And if they didn't do it, I'm not quite surprised of them claiming it when no one else has, because it would work for them to bring a publicity to them, because, it's art. This is what the one thing that human beings as animals have that is really over or different from every other kind of organism that we know of on this planet.
Right.
Because we do make these objects that have no, there's no utility purpose to them.
Right.
Beavers create dams, and termites create giant mounds and stuff, but they don't make them. They make them for a purpose that is for a use. They don't make them for expression or for beauty or for even the ugliness of it to make a comment on stuff like that. Yeah. Or representation. You don't see lions taking their paw and making other lion images in the sand or whatever. But
if they knew how purpose or how important it was, I guess.
Right, but I mean, that's art is a kind of like a byproduct of our cultural evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because we had time to our brains made us do these things, have the desire to do these things. Record the hunts on the cave walls, or these ideas of beings that are larger than us with the gods and all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. We created this kind of stuff, and that was because we had our minds had developed to that stage of things.
Because we have the ability to reflect, and that's a huge differentiation. It's like that's a human problem, right? You have too much now. You have too much time on your hands because you're not worried about getting eaten by the lions. So you start expanding your mental capacity and have the ability to have these feelings. That's what's amazing about art, and that's why it's so important too. Is that we're having a mirror image shown to us, and these things like this, I know people don't see them as art, maybe, or whatever, but that's the purpose of it, is to give you a little bit of pause in, oh man, what does this mean? The fact that your brain goes to, oh, this could be aliens, is just that is art, right? Because it causes you to ask questions.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. I wonder if like having all this extra time to do things like art, I want to know like how how much faster that's causing us to evolve. Because everything that we learn is pretty much coded in our DNA. Mm-hmm. So, like, you know, your instinct that you have now is probably there because of things that your great-great-grandma learned and, like, did in life. Mm-hmm. And then all that information is coded into our DNA.
100%.
And I wonder if now that we have that time and we're thinking about things that could happen but haven't happened yet, mm-hmm. or, you know, things that we could change, if all of that's being coded into our DNA, and that's why now that we're humans, we're evolving so much faster.
Sure. I mean, that's what fear and anxiety is. I mean, fear and anxiety was developed over time to give us a sense of urgency, you know, in the wild. But now that we don't have that as modern humans, we're having a difficult time figuring out our place. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not natural to sit in a cubicle for freaking 10 hours a day. It's just not. And so we're having to deal with our mental side, I think, a lot more than our ancestors mm-hmm. did. And I see that a lot in myself and my kids too, because I have a level of anxiety and depression that is sort of present in my family, and mm-hmm. you see that, and you see that develop in your kids, and it's like it's just part of the DNA, and it's you know, learning how to deal with these things. Oftentimes we turn to art, we turn to music, we turn to poetry, we turn to literature to give us a sense of a balance and what it is that gives us the ability to make it to the end. What is the purpose, right? It's mm-hmm. like Adam was saying, it's like in early man's life, we developed religions and we developed storytelling to give us maybe a sense of kind of what we're doing on this rock that's floating in the middle of space that we can't wrap our head around. And the more that we're finding out about, you know, the universe and our place in it, it's like Carl Sagan said, you know, it raises more questions than it answers, you know, mm-hmm. the pale blue dot, you know.
Yeah.
You know, that's... I mean, I guess we could get off on a tangent on that, and I don't want to.
Well,
because
I think we have.
You know, yeah. But I think what we're talking about really is just the greater story of humans. Yeah. And mm-hmm. it's important to talk about.
I think that is what these monoliths and the mystery of them have really brought out. They've really brought something out in our collective imagination and our responses to it. And so you have these people who went and removed it because they thought it was an eyesore and they thought that it was offensive and that it shouldn't be out in the desert because that is for Mother Nature and Mother Nature alone. And apparently, you know, we can't have art in or national parks or places where normally you wouldn't. It's not a gallery or museum. It can't be art.
Yeah.
That's a foolish idea, but that's me as an artist ranting about that. Art.
No, but you're right.
Everywhere. Oh, you know what is the weirdest thing actually about these monoliths? You said, Adam, that you saw a like they put the coordinates on Reddit or something like that. Mm-hmm. I couldn't find any Reddit pages at all.
Wow.
Which was so weird to me.
Wow.
Not a single.
That is strange.
Yeah, it's Reddit. Like, there's every single conspiracy has a million pages, and even with COVID, like before it became apparent that it was real, there were multiple Reddit pages on it.
I'm sure.
Last year.
Okay.
So that really freaked me out because I wanted to find one before we talked today to get an idea of like what the really out there conspiracies were, but there were not a single monolith page on Reddit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
How did you look it up?
So I just searched our pages from the app, and I tried monoliths. I tried well, really monoliths should have them all, but
did you type Utah monolith?
No, because I wanted to see all the monoliths. Well, then that goes into the background. Yeah.
Well, there's our Utah monolith.
Okay. Can we talk about the other ones?
I don't know, but
like I was expecting to see a monolith page with like that would have information on like the monolith on the moon and, you know, all of any monolith, but nothing. It says Utah monolith was removed. Let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. Are there any other ones besides that one?
That's the one that popped up when I typed in Utah monolith.
Okay. Just type in monolith and see if anything comes up.
I just keep thinking of that. Simpsons song from early on with the monorail.
I do not know that one.
It was a very early.
Didn't they did an episode with a monolith, right? The Simpsons that looked just like these.
They've existed for what, like 30-something years? Or they probably have.
Yeah.
Out of desperation for something, so.
Wait, what was the monolith in the Netherlands now?
That's what I'm saying. Like
2 hours ago.
There's too many that
2 hours ago?
Even, you know.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep. What does that look like? I'm trying to find a picture. Oh, it's all written in oh God, what language do they speak? Is it Swedish? I don't know.
Where was it?
It says it's in yeah, there we go. It's in Dutch. So I can't read it. Ook Mysterieus Middelen Monolith.
Maybe I'll send that to my mother-in-law, see if she can decipher it.
Yes. It's like right next to a tiny like pond in the Netherlands. But it's like the other ones. It's out in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
So it's not like, you know, the Vegas one or
right.
San Antonio or San Austin, whichever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 2 hours ago. Wild.
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
I don't know,
like,
man.
What's your theory?
So at the end of the day, what do I think it is? What do I think all of these are? I think it was a sculpture that somebody put out in the desert. I would love to think it was a solid thing, something that aliens put out there. But no, I think because especially after it's deconstructed.
They're way cooler than that. Aliens have to be way cooler than
well, they would put, so it would be much more, it'd be much more well constructed, I would imagine, than, you know, slapped together as they were. But I think that it was a sculpture that someone, I don't know if it's necessarily the group that's claiming it, but I think it's a sculpture somebody put out in the desert. Whether it was the original artist or someone else took this and put it out in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a sculpture somebody placed out there. It went undiscovered for a long time. It was discovered, and it did exactly the purpose that it was meant to do. It ignited the imagination, and it ignited the imagination of the people that saw it as a mystery, the people who were like, you know, oh, well, that's kind of weird. But also it inspired people to be creative and make their own, to add to the mystery, to add to this wonderment, this magical thinking. And it's still going. It's because like you just said, things are popping up.
Yeah.
Every day there's a new monolith that goes up or disappears. You know, and of course the mystery of it disappearing was only added fuel to the fire, even though we found out what happened to both of them after they disappeared. Although I don't know about the Romanian one, but I would imagine that some kind of Romanian officials took it down.
So they're just waiting, and like whenever one disappears, they have one ready and they just put it out.
No,
like,
I just think it's random people. Yeah. And I think it's highly coincidental because, like I said, the simplicity of the structure makes it where it would be very easy to just throw one together in a day and take it out. And if you know how to install sculptures especially, then it would be very easy to take it out and throw it up really quickly. You know, because like I said, the first, you know, the second monolith, the first copycat, was different because it had that grinding, like a grinder's texture and circular motion all on it, you know.
If they would, if it were left alone, I would have, you know what I mean? Like, I would go, no, you know what I mean? Like, maybe this is the same, but I don't know. It takes your concentration and your mind off of the thing in its pure form, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. That was the other conspiracy I heard, that it was like CIA like working overtime to distract people from what's, right, which is what you can say that about anything,
right? Yeah. Well, and that's the deal too, right? That's kind of kind of the fun of this, is that like it can kind of be what you want it to be, or like I think everyone could have their own slant on it, and nothing's wrong because we don't really know the truth about it at this point. And when we know the truth, will we really know the truth? Like that whole thing. Yeah. I mean, we've done the CIA and our government's done some pretty fucked up shit, some pretty awful, weird things.
Probably far more sinister than monoliths.
What we need is we need Agents Mulder and Agent Scully in on this.
Dude.
We need an entire season, a new season of X-Files all about the monolith.
True.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
I just watched my favorite episode the other day from X-Files. It's the one where there's like the psychic guy who is like, fake, like hokey psychic. And then there's the guy who really can like, send stuff. Old dude. God, that's like, I always feel the same thing when I watch that episode. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so well done. That's got to be like the best X-Files episode ever.
That's a hard thing to say because there's so many good episodes.
No, for sure. That was one of the first TV shows I can remember that was like done really well. That you're just like, God, this is so good. This is done so well.
Mm-hmm. I still haven't watched the new season all the way through. They did. Yeah. I'm waiting. I want to go through. I've been going through and watching it all the episodes to like get myself ready for that.
Yeah.
And like I'll probably watch movies too again.
I made it through the first couple, and then I don't know what it was, if it was the writing or what, but I was just like, for whatever reason, it didn't hit the same notes. I need to go back.
Not as like campy?
I don't know. It felt like
I like the campy episodes.
Yeah.
And they made it. Did they add to the relationship?
Gosh,
they did.
Man.
So they made them like romantic.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but that was done in the movies.
Right, but it wasn't very heavy-handed. Like I still remember feeling like.
Yeah, I don't think they're together.
They were partners before they were alone.
Yeah, I don't think they were together in the new series. Like I think some time had passed, and they're like, I don't know. It just I need to go back. I need to go back and revisit it. Hey, that's a nice t-shirt you got on there.
Oh, thanks, dude. It's brand new. Do you like that? It's one of the official What's Your Weird Story t-shirts.
Where'd you get that?
It's funny that you ask. I just got it off the brand new Spreadshirt.com site for the What's Your Weird Story podcast. There's no www. You just go straight to shop.spreadshirt.com/what's without the apostrophe WHATS hyphen YER WEIRD-STORY, and that'll take you right there.
I mean, you can never own enough clothing.
Well, it's true, Barry. There's t-shirts for the ladies because, they're cut differently. There's hoodies, which are really cool. There's 2 different kinds of hoodies, and there's also tote bags, so you can tote your stuff.
That's so cool, man.
So if you guys go out to spreadshirt.com, What's Your Weird Story, currently there are 2 designs, but there will be more going up very soon. So just keep your eyes out for that. And if you decide to get one of our shirts, tag yourself on Instagram to ours or Facebook. Show your love. Show us what you got. Let's see your true colors. Well, there you have it. I mean, well, actually, that's not even all that you have, because it seems like every day there's a new monolith that pops up and somewhere in the world.
Yeah.
And, it's all, it's just, this story is going to probably continue to develop for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a monolith that actually, I think, since this story came out, or since we covered it, they found, and it was written in, what is it, the language that the dude speaks in Predator, etched into it. And so oddly enough, I got on Reddit because there was a link to it, and the Reddit people found its star coordinates to the language it's written on. They figured out that it's star coordinates to some like near galaxy or something that the Predator is supposed to come from. Basically, what happened was, there's a new Predator movie coming out, and they took the opportunity to use it as
I support that. 100%.
Viral marketing. That's really
viral
clever.
marketing. Yeah, isn't that cool? But that's what I mean. That's what's so cool about the story, is that like the first one is obviously the one that I'm most interested in, because it's just odd that it's there,
and it was there for so long.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's been, of course, we talked about in the episode how the artist group Most Famous Artist has taken, somewhat taking credit.
Right.
But there's also people who feel that it could be the late artist John McCracken, who passed away in 2011, but he has works that are very comparable and similar to this object. He lived in the Southwest Desert area. He believed in extraterrestrials and had expressed. What's that?
Had a killer name.
McCracken is John McCracken.
It over and over my head.
That's if you're not going to be an artist or a DJ, you got to be an action hero. With a name like John McCracken.
That's true.
Or maybe you could be a comedian too, I suppose. But yeah, he had. At some point, or at probably several points, he had just expressed an interest in leaving behind a piece of artwork in the desert. So some people say, yeah, that looks like his stuff. Other people are like, nah, that's not his stuff. So, I mean, but, he didn't, to our knowledge, he didn't sign it, so we don't know.
Yeah.
And, the other, and again, if nobody else is taking credit for it, it's brilliant to take credit for it, to bring notoriety to yourself.
True.
And then sell some copies,
Very true.
Like they've done. And so I want to know what happened.
Right?
What's that?
The mirrored ones? That came after, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been mirrored ones that have popped up in England and in other places, and they have they have a kind of a point, an angled point, and it's not flat on the top. So I think those are ones that pre-existed. I think those are similar ideas as people had that pre-existed, and they just kind of, let's take this out of the, wherever this is and put it out in public, And it's because, this has inspired a lot of public art, which is awesome, because, we need to embrace arts again. And even if if it takes the monolith to do this, then that's awesome.
Right. Right.
But
they kind of look like those war monuments where they have all the names listed on it.
Right. Like the Vietnam Memorial. Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool stuff, man.
Yeah, man. So, we couldn't even keep up with all the places that these other monoliths have popped up over the the weeks since this has happened. But it's a fantastic story, and it's it's wonderful because it creates wonder, it creates imagination, and it incites things. And and maybe it was, after all,
interdimensional beings.
Or it could be interdimensional beings too. I suppose those would be alien as well. So
right.
It's almost as believable as everything else.
Almost. It absolutely is believable. You forget what podcast you're on?
Right. So. That's so true. Well, cool. Well, I was going to say thanks, Bobby.
Thank you for joining us and for being part of this great discussion that we had. This conversation, the original conversation, was almost 2 hours long, and we've really streamlined it down, and because we wandered off into some really great topics, great discussion, but we pulled it back together and made it a much a shorter version. But if you are planning on becoming a Patreon subscriber, and we'll be changing some of that around as the new year comes. But we're still going to be providing some really cool bonus content, and that full nearly 2-hour conversation will be part of that Patreon content coming very soon. So that's something for you guys to look forward to. So thanks again, Bobby, for joining us. Thanks again, Barry, for always being here. Thanks again, Adam, for being a beautiful human being. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us on this special breaking news episode of the What's Your Weird Story podcast. Tune in next week for our Christmas special. And don't forget to listen to the regular normal episode that came out parallel with this bonus episode. That was episode 121 with our write-ins and our talk to our novelist friend, newly printed novelist friend, Brandon, former guest of the show. And anything else?
I hope you don't get coal this year.
Oh, look, a new monolith. It's popping up everywhere. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week, next time, whenever you're listening to this. There'll be another episode to follow very soon. Until then, be safe.
Be weird.
As always, if you have a weird story, we want to hear it.
If you have a lot of them, we want to hear them all.
We can't do this podcast without your invaluable contributions.
Whether it's sharing your stories,
listening,
rating,
and spreading the word about the podcast. Thanks for listening. Until next time, be safe.
Be weird.
The stories presented on the What's Your Weird Story podcast are, to our knowledge, true experiences that our guests have had. We can't take the time to research all claims made, and besides, it's just not as fun.